Years ago, when my wife was pregnant with our first child, I decided to take off on a 10-week cycling trip around Southeast Asia. My wife was cool with it. She knew that it was something I had wanted to do for a long time. And I remember landing in Bangkok, jumping on a bus for a place called Chanthaburi, which is where I wanted to start riding. And I remember sitting on the bus, real excited about the next 10 weeks. This was going to be just beyond anything I could even imagine, but I knew it was going to be something just fantastic. But as I got closer to where I was supposed to get off the bus, I started getting this feeling of not really fear, but trepidation based on the uncertainty of what was going to happen. Soon I was going to be out there all by myself on my bicycle in a place I had never been before. And I had done some traveling, so this was actually a weird feeling for me. And it wasn't the first time, to be honest. When I went to Cambodia, landed at the airport, and I hired some kid to give me a ride on the back of his moped into town. And I asked him just to ride around for a little while so I could see parts of the city and kind of get a layout of the land. And I remember that time too, not wanting to get off the moped, because once I did, that was it. I was going to be completely on my own, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go, what was going to happen. It happened in Malaysia too, on the airplane. I was going to get off that airplane. I was going to have to cycle out of the airport and find my way towards Malacca, which is where I wanted to go first. So in all these instances, I was excited about what was coming. I wanted to get going, but at the same time, I had this feeling like I just want to stay here a little longer because it's safe. And that's the feeling I had when I was in the hospital. After I had my heart attack on Tuesday night, on Wednesday, the nurses said I'd be in the hospital for 10 to 14 days. And that was a shock to me, because I couldn't imagine having to stay in the hospital that long for anything, even a heart attack, because I felt fine. On Wednesday, they said, well, maybe a week. On Thursday, they said, oh, maybe Monday. And on Friday, they said, just go home tomorrow. So things were happening fast. And I guess they see heart attack survivors every day, and they know how to deal with things. They know the situation. They know how to deal with the patient and tell the patient what's best for them. I was excited to hear, about this daily progress, that I'd be going home soon. But then Saturday morning came, and I was going to go home that afternoon. And again, I got that feeling of, I don't want to go yet. Now, the feeling was sort of the same, but the situation obviously was very different. In Cambodia or Thailand, Malaysia, I could just get on my bike, start pedaling, and figure things out. Here, I'd be going home not knowing what my own body was going to do, and if there was anything I could do about it. But the nurses, the doctors, they know what they're doing. I guess, I hope. So with that feeling of not knowing how it's going to go, and not knowing what I was in for, not knowing what I was going to experience, what was going to happen to me, I went home. And before I did, I was told that I should move around. I can't just lay around and sit on the couch and lay in bed. I have to move around. I have to get my body used to moving, used to exercising again, which was great, because that's what I love to do. I love to move. I love to get out and exercise and cycle and such, run through the mountains. But this was different. This was different because I had no control over what my own body was going to do, or how much I could influence or tolerate or push through what might happen internally. I can go for a run in the mountains if I get tired or dehydrated. If I start feeling tired or worn out, exhausted, I can deal with it. But now I'm on my way home thinking, well, if my heart decides to do something weird, I have no idea what to do. I don't think I can do anything about it, except lay down and maybe call an ambulance and head back to the hospital. So I go home, and for a while, I can't do much. I can't stand up for more than a couple minutes. I can't do dishes. Can't carry laundry from one room to the next because all this stuff was too strenuous for me. But I knew that slowly I'd have to get back into things, and believe me, I wanted to. But I was kind of caught between anxiety and overzealousness. I didn't want to push myself too hard, but I wanted to get out there and get better. And exercising, moving around was going to help me get better. And I remember this dream I had after I had knee surgery. It was a strange dream, but I remember it clearly, and I knew exactly what it meant when I woke up. In my dream, I was laying in my bed, and I got up, I went to the bathroom, I looked in the mirror, and my face began to kind of contort itself. Like it was rubber and it was twisting on its own volition. Looking in the mirror, I opened my mouth and somehow managed to stretch my face, push it back into its normal position. And then I went back into my bedroom, laid down, and doing this, trying to get my face to look normal again, it took a lot of effort and it hurt. So I went back down, laid down in bed again, and it felt really comfortable. I felt really safe. But then all of a sudden, my mattress basically jumped up in the air and threw me onto the floor. And I took all that to mean that, yeah, it would be comfortable for me to lay in bed, but I had to get up and rehabilitate my knee. Now, I know knee surgery and a heart attack are two completely different animals, but I kept that in mind, that it was going to be tough. It was definitely going to be tough, but I had to do it. And tough physically, well, the physical part, I couldn't really, I certainly couldn't control it, but I could kind of, I hoped, feel when I was pushing myself too hard and I could sit back. The tough part, I believed, was going to be mental, where I had to perhaps know when it was too much, or know when I needed to take it easy, or know when I needed to do a little more. But on this, I had no clue, got no advice, except for, well, you know your own body, so listen to your body and do what it says. So after a week or so at home, it was tough. I would go for a walk for a few hundred yards and I'd feel okay, but I'd be scared that all of a sudden I was just going to collapse. I went out for a bicycle ride and I knew I had to take it easy. So I told myself I'd go out for an hour. Real slow, real easy, flat surfaces, flat roads. I was out for 45 minutes before I started spitting up blood. And I had to ride home. I wasn't too far because I knew I wasn't going to stay out long, but I got home and sat down, and this was on a Monday, I remember this, and it took me till Friday to actually feel like I could stand up without feeling dizzy or feeling off. So it was a long road getting back to where I could basically live normally, not even live an active life, but just be normal. Fortunately, now here I am, a couple years and a couple months later, I'm on another cycling tour. So life has improved. My health is back to where it was before, pretty much. But I'll always remember, and I still, from time to time, think about having to find that balance between getting out there and being active and making sure my body stays healthy by being active, but not being too ambitious about it. Now, I was so lucky to have people around when I collapsed, when I went down with my heart attack. There were people there who could give me CPR and could shock my heart back to life with that AED. And after everything, when I was in the hospital, doctors ran their tests, and they couldn't detect any measurable damage to my heart because I was saved so quickly. A lot of other heart attack survivors, I'm sure, have not been that lucky. So if someone out there has had a heart attack, your situation may not be quite the same as mine. You may not have been quite as fortunate as me. If you're alive, you're really fortunate. That's for sure. But the after effects and the damage you might have suffered may be different. You may have had a different road to recovery, or you may be just starting out on your own road to recovery. So I can't feel confident giving advice that pertains specifically to any one person. But I can say that you gotta get going to an extent. And again, I remember how much of a struggle it was mentally for me. I didn't know how much I should do, how much I could do, and I didn't know if what I did was going to destroy me. I remember I got home, rested for a week, and I tried to go back to teaching English, which is what I was doing at the time. I was teaching elementary school kids English in my home. And after, I guess is by now 2 weeks, it was only 2 weeks after I had my heart attack, I had kids coming back into my house, and I was teaching them English and being up on my feet and being energetic like you have to be with kids and keeping them engaged. And after 2 classes, 2 hours, I had to go upstairs and I had to lay down. My body was shaking, my heart was going crazy, and I was thinking to myself, when am I ever going to get better? So those moments will occur, and you may spit up blood. I don't know what's going to happen, but there's got to be that balance, and you have to find that balance between taking it easy and giving your body what it needs to recover and get back to active normal. I wish I had a prescription for each and every person who has been in my position and has suffered to one degree or another. But that's the best I can do. That's my experience. I don't want to, I guess I should call it a struggle, because it has been a struggle, physically and mentally. Fortunately, 2 years down the road, I can be back out on the road and cycle for miles and miles at a time and feel confident that my body can take it, and feel confident that I'm going to not just enjoy this today, but be able to enjoy another ride tomorrow. So listen to yourself, listen to your body, but give it a chance and see what it can do. And if you think you're doing too much, take it easy, but don't lay around, because that mattress is going to throw you off onto the floor. You're going to have to get going again. And I hope it goes well. Hope you can get back to whatever you love doing, just like I have. Been very fortunate. I'm actually out here on the island of Shikoku in south central Japan. Got to go eat breakfast, get with the group, and start riding again. It's a beautiful day. And every day like this just reminds me how lucky I am that it's all worked out. Not without effort, not without struggle, not without a lot of mental difficulties. But here I am. And I hope if you're in a situation where you're wondering, where will I be? I hope you're out here in your own favorite place, in your own favorite set of circumstances real soon. Take care of yourself. Talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.